The Roman Empire, at the peak of its heyday, mastered most of Europe, northern Africa, and even conquered some territories of the Asian direction. Of course, the success of military campaigns largely depended on the talent of the generals, their skillful tactics and strategy of warfare. Nevertheless, any commander needs hands, or rather fists, who could realize his military plan. It was these fists that the Roman legionnaires acted, who surpassed in their strength, dexterity, and skill many other troops in the territories conquered by Great Rome. Let's find out the rules of life for Roman legionnaires. Perhaps their experience can be useful in modern realities. Functional body. If you try to imagine the Roman legionnaires, then involuntarily powerful, physically developed and large men appear in your head. In many ways, this image was inspired by modern cinema, depicting Roman soldiers as completely inflated athletes. In fact, the legionnaires looked different. Their body was primarily a tool, because only its functionality mattered, and not the spectacular external data of the relief muscles. In reality, their bodies were wiry, strong, but not overly muscular. The thing is that, on duty, the legionnaires had to overcome tens of kilometers on foot with all their equipment. Naturally, the warriors lost weight, but remained strong and hardy. Moreover, too developed muscle mass was not beneficial for combat either, because a more overweight fighter moves more slowly, dodges a blow worse than a dry and nimble athlete. Narrow specialization. Another misconception that can arise when analyzing the skills of Roman legionnaires is their versatility. It seems that every fighter should be a universal warrior who knows how to fight with all types of weapons and demonstrates the skill of an ace in any field of military art. But this is a delusion. The advantage of the Roman army over others was precisely the narrow specialization of different groups of legionnaires. Each Roman legionnaire had his own professional orientation and devoted all his time to mastering a strictly defined range of skills. In the Roman army, the distribution of military branches was introduced: light infantry, heavy infantry, cavalry, and archers. Other armies consisted entirely of militias, where jacks of all trades fought. They simultaneously learned to control an axe, a spear, and even throw arrows. Roman legionnaires honed their narrow skills to automatism, which increased their effectiveness at times. Exhausting workouts in drill. The secret of the military stamina of the Roman legionnaires was that their training sometimes took place in much more difficult conditions than real military campaigns. Exhausting physical training and tough drill turned them into machines ready to crush everything in their path. So, for example, for training they wore uniforms twice as heavy as their military attire. The same applied to weapons, so the pilum spear used on the battlefield weighed from 2 to 4 kilograms. In training, heavy spears were used for throwing, weighing 4 kilograms, and for close combat, weighing 7 kilograms. Having become accustomed to a heavy spear, a lighter one seemed almost weightless to the legionary, thanks to which he could fight in a real battle longer and more efficiently. In addition to weapons, there was also armor. For example, the armor of the Laric segment Atta weighed 9 kilograms. In order to develop the skill of carrying heavy weights for a long time, the Roman legionnaires had to walk 30 kilometers with a weight of 20 kilograms in 5 hours for the first 4 months of their training. Later, the load increased and they had to walk 40 kilometers with the same weight and in the same time. The progressive adaptation system developed incredible endurance in the legionnaires. Thanks to this, in military campaigns, they could travel huge distances in a fairly short time and overtake the enemy quite unexpectedly. Carbohydrate diet. To carry out military tasks, the legionnaires, of course, needed to expend a lot of energy. The diet of the warriors was also different from what their rivals ate. If, for example, the Gauls and Germans preferred an abundance of protein foods from meat, then the Roman diet was rich in an abundance of carbohydrates. Mostly warriors ate porridge. Cereals and legumes were the food base of the Roman legionnaires. They also added an abundance of greens, vegetables, and fruits. Meat was also present, but to a much lesser extent. Cereals provided carbohydrates, and legumes provided vegetable protein, which together allowed a strong and hardy warrior to get enough energy. Correct recovery. Roman legionnaires followed a special training regimen. It wasn't like the primitive swinging of an axe for hours on end. There were special scientific treatises according to which legionnaires trained. Before the start of the workout, there was a warm-up, which warmed up all muscle groups, and at the end of the main workout, a hitch followed, also consisting of a special set of exercises. Only then came rest, which was often accompanied by a visit to the bath and cold baths. This made it possible to train the circulatory system, and also contributed to hardening and, ultimately, to complete relaxation. To relieve muscle spasms, legionnaires often resorted to massage, and there were other procedures that helped the soldiers constantly maintain their high combat readiness. Here are some interesting facts we learned about the Roman legionnaires. Perhaps it is worth adopting these principles. After all, if you shift them to any other area, you can achieve more through hard training, the right narrow specialization and attention to detail. Thank you for your attention. Stay with us on the channel.